Hello, 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 and good afternoon, and welcome to the Keys to Success Show. It is your girl, Miss Lee, full-time real estate entrepreneur and success coach based here out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. And today it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Miss Kelly A. Bowens, full-time real estate, not real estate, full-time entrepreneur, inspiring women all over the world. Kelly, please take a moment and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your platform. It is an absolute honor. Again, my name is Kelly A. Bowens. I am here in the Atlanta, Georgia area, well, in the suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. I am by trade, by passion and paycheck, I like to say, an event planner. I have an event management company called Visionology Event Management, women's group called the CEO District. On August the 8th, August the 1st, which is, I had the number 8 new beginnings in my head, so I apologize. I'm probably going to reference 8 a lot. That's just been what I've been on all month, so I apologize. So we newly launched on August the 1st, made up of mainly entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, business owners, business professionals, and women who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs.
Awesome, awesome. So, are you originally from the Atlanta, Georgia area? Because we're going to dive into all of that. Where are you originally from? What brought you to Atlanta if you're not from Atlanta? And how did you get involved in your current business?
Well, I am an old country girl from Tennessee. I am from Springfield, Tennessee originally, which is right out about 30 minutes outside of Nashville. Okay. What brought me to Atlanta? So I've been here since 2006. And basically, you know, the Nashville that I moved away from is not the Nashville that we know today. I may still be there if it were. But Nashville, I just really had outgrown Nashville. It kind of hit the ceiling corporately. And I just knew that there was more to me than, you know, nothing against, you know, corporate America, or I just knew it was more to me than, you know, sitting in a cubicle and, you know, working 8 hours a day. So I just, you know, I had, at the time, I was a single parent with an 11, 12-year-old, and literally just packed up the kids and moved to Atlanta. I just jumped and leaped out there. And to date, it's been one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
Right. And my story is somewhat similar. Same thing, packed up and moved to Atlanta. And a lot of people that we speak to say, you know what, I just made a decision. I packed up, I moved to Atlanta, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. So I've been to Nashville, drove through Nashville. It's an absolutely beautiful city. But you said, you know what, enough is enough. It's time for me to try something new. And you moved to Atlanta, Georgia. So you moved to Atlanta. And how did you get into event planning and just wanting to inspire women and to, you know, into their purpose?
So I've always loved planning parties. You know, you start doing for, you know, parties for family and friends, even before I moved to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And when I moved to Atlanta and started, you know, having more progressive conversations that I was having in Tennessee, it sparked something in me that, hey, you know, I can possibly start a business, because that was the farthest thing from my mind, you know, just not being around those type people, not having those type conversations. And so moving to Atlanta, I was exposed to a whole different world, and it felt good. It felt like I was at, you know, I was at home. These are the types of conversations I've been longing for, and I didn't even know it. But, you know, it just kind of felt good, and all the dots connected. And so I was inspired by my mentor then, Chad Thompson. I had a mentor prior to that. She was into events, and so I plugged in with her and became her, you know, apprentice under her, and I just learned, and then stepped out there and started doing my own events. Initially started out doing, you know, birthdays or, you know, weddings, things of that nature, but then progressed into corporate events, because although I can do the cute stuff, I love the logistics, you know, of it all, with corporate events and like conferences and things of that nature. I love putting the pieces together and then, you know, just standing back and watching it all unfold. So I started my company, Visionology Event Management, in 2012, and still, you know, have run that business today. Prior to COVID, I specialized just mainly in corporate events. And of course, when COVID came, and, you know, no one was traveling for corporate America anymore, much less having, you know, corporate events. And so that week that everything kind of fell apart, the week of like the 13th and all that, I literally by the end of the week had lost all of my, at the time placed on hold, all of my corporate events. And so how CEO came about was God had given me that vision in December. And because I'm such a planner, I just love to have my T's crossed, I's dotted before I put anything into the marketplace, just because my name, is associated with it. He gave me the vision, but he didn't give me all the details. And that's how he has to work with me, because if he gives me the big vision, I try to insert myself in and make it better and then end up messing it up. So he gave me this big vision, but just a few details. And so I'm like, And it wasn't enough. And I'm just being honest. It wasn't enough for me to move forward, just be out on faith and move forward. And so COVID hit in March, and he's still, talking to me like this women's empowerment group that you're supposed to start. What about that? And I'm like, well, we don't even know what our life is going to look like. This was in March. I don't even know what my life is going to look like in the next, few months. So let me just put that on pause, right? Legitimate reason, to not start anything, you know what I mean? With all the uncertainty going on. But at the end of July, he circles back around. I was like, okay, now, what about this group? We kind of have a grasp of what life is going to look like. So, what now? What's the holdup now? And I had to literally just do a self check. Like, that was a good reason in March, but now it's an excuse. I'm using it as an excuse. Right. And, God just affirmed to me that I didn't ask you to have all the T's crossed and I's dotted. I called you to be obedient. And so you just have to trust me in this. And, I did, I put everything together based on the information that I had, and just God being God, he has literally sent all the people, all the resources. It has been mind blowing. I promise you, I could sit here all day and tell you all the things that he's done in these past 30 days that has literally blown my entire mind. And it just affirms that when he gives you something, let him be God and know that he has the people and the resources to back it up.
Wow. Yeah. I'm getting chills while you're speaking. That is absolutely so true. And I was just speaking actually to Amanda, who connected us earlier today, about just moving forward in faith and knowing that, just taking that one step and knowing that God will work out the rest. It is so important. And, here on the Keys to Success show, we go into the keys to success in life. And that is one of the most major, keys to success, because a lot of people say it starts with prayer. It starts with listening to what God says and hearing the voice and knowing, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. How did you know at that moment when you got started that this is God speaking to me? This is what I'm supposed to do. What is that feeling that if you could share with our viewers, that knowing of saying, I hear you, God, I know this is what I'm supposed to do?
And to be honest, probably 2 years ago, I wouldn't have known his voice from my neighbor's voice, right? Yeah. I am big, and more so now the past couple of years, on personal development.
Yes.
I'm a reader. I love Audible books, and I love quiet. And God speaks to me, and we all have our individual relationships, but he speaks to me. Even if I'm not listening to an Audible driving in my car, I don't have anything on. And so I have relationally, just with our natural, I'm a parent. If you're talking and having conversations, then my voice is unrecognizable to my child.
Right.
I can be in a room with 1,000 women, but if I call his name, he's going to know it's me, right? It's not going to be a question, right? And that's how we should aspire to be with God, because of the relationship that we have, and because of the prayer life that we have, which is nothing but talking to him spirit to spirit. And when I say prayer, I'm sitting here, working, praying. I can be driving in my car praying. So I don't sign off on the traditional relationship that I was taught, growing up,
right?
Because it was so, XYZ, don't do this, don't do that. And God is like, that's great intention, but that's so not me. Let's talk about relationships. You know what I mean? Right. And so, especially over the past 2 years, and I'm growing and growing and growing, we'll never stop growing. But that is, in a nutshell, in a condensed version, how I've known to come to know the voice of God.
That's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that piece with us. Now, I know you said you absolutely love audibles. I love audibles as well, and personal development. No matter what business you're in, personal development is so very important.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how, you said in the last few years you kind of got into, okay, it's time to really start working on personal development. How did you come to that? And what has been the most inspirational thing that has inspired you throughout your journey on growth?
Let's see, that's a loaded question. So, and I attest things back, and I don't give the enemy any credit, but because of what I have read, I know how he uses us to uses us against ourselves to trick us. Everything that he does is just a trick. And I shared this, last week, that in the 5th grade, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I don't know why, but it was a revelation to me. In the 5th grade, I was in science class, and the teacher called on me to read the book aloud. And it was the enemy like working on me even in the 5th grade. He said, you stutter. Don't raise your hand, but because you stutter and you don't speak well in public. Right? 5th grade. Right. I am 45. I am overcoming my fear of public speaking because of that seed that he planted even in the 5th grade.
Wow.
Of public speaking. It has literally paralyzed me. And that was initially one of the reasons why, a part of the reason why I didn't start SheEO in December. I was like, God, I'm not, most leaders that I see, they're great speakers. They can get up and, motivate this, that, and the third. I don't have the ability to do that yet. And again, he said, I didn't call you to speak. I called you to lead.
Right.
And so identifying what is placed in the earth against me, then once I've identified that, I know what to do and what not to do. And then I can recognize it, and do the opposite. Yes. I want to do the opposite of 99% of the population of this entire world.
Yes.
And I know that now by reading that the enemy has set up to cushion and soften the hearts and just actually malice the hearts of the 99. Because he puts fear in us.
Right.
Fear, which all drives back to, at some point or another, people pleasing. And so I talk a lot about, in conversations, with friends about all the tricks of the enemy, because no one was having that conversation with me. So I knew how I was falling for tricks and how that made my life. I didn't progress as fast as I thought I should be. But I didn't know the rule. I didn't know the rule, the playbook. I knew I was in a war, but I didn't know that I didn't have the enemy's playbook. So I'm just going along to get along and not fighting the right fight. Right. Because everything we fight spiritual warfare, nothing's physical. Everything is spiritual. So in that personal development, going back to your question, that is how I've been able to navigate and switch course. I was going in the right direction, but I was detouring, getting distracted, this, that, and the third. And now, that I'm able to pull it all together, I can just stay the course so that I can get to my destination on time.
Wow. Beautiful. And I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I know just on my journey, you have so many things, so many negative things that happen, and you have to just pull from it and say, and I know for me, a few years ago, my house burned down, and I said, and I was in a dark place, and I said, you know what, Lord? What doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
Yes.
Hear that, like, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. What does that mean? You have to draw strength from the things that may weaken you, and understand what is the lesson in this, and what can I do to just become stronger in these areas where I may feel weak, and then seek that knowledge of, okay, I'm feeling weak in this area. Let me go seek help in that area. Like with the audibles, I may need help in this. So I know for me, it's like Think and Grow Rich, and a lot of other inspirational books, T.D. Jakes, Women That Were Loose. That book, the first book that I ever read that made me cry while I was reading it. So, and that's when you know the power of reading, and the power of reading the right things to inspire your soul to just do the things that you've been called on earth to do. Is important. So very important.
Yes, Absolutely.
Yeah, that is beautiful. So you started CEO, and you said, you know what, let me do it. Ready or not, here I come. So
Yes.
you started it. Tell us a little bit about CEO and what you've done with it, and kind of what your goals are with the program.
Okay, great. So CEO is made up of 4 layers. We support women through the layers of health, business, wealth, and social. And so our health layer, and when he gave me these layers and had me to, okay, list it this way, had no clue as to why. Now I do. Now that the women have come, I know now that what my thought about what my plan was, God's plan was much higher, right? So it literally all makes sense. So so we have a 1A and 1B. So our health is 1A and 1B. So mental health is our top priority with this women's group for 2 reasons. Again, our makeup of ladies are, entrepreneurs, business owners, and ladies who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs. We got to tackle our mental health before we thrust ourselves into the marketplace, because we have to encounter people. Yes. Right. And if we don't know, not addressing past hurts, traumas, things that happened to us as a child, we're masters of sweeping that under the rug and tucking the rug, and it doesn't go away. It just follows us, right? And being in business, the marketplace is not a nice place. It's a jungle out there, right? And so when we encounter people, we need to know how to manage our emotions. We need to know how to manage, relationships, removing our emotions from business relationships. And it's hard to do that. It's tough to do that when we don't have mental health conversations, with ourselves or with the professional, which I strongly, promote. Best thing I ever did in my life. Right. But we got to deal with our mental health, because that mind starts everything, from your thoughts, from your conversations, to your behaviors, right? So we got to start here, so that and get ourselves free, so that we can be free to be who we are.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely agree 110%. Now, with the CEO platform, is it on Facebook, or tell us a little bit about the platform and how do women sign up and join?
So yes, so our platform currently is on, we have a private Facebook page. And so the process or the funneling, starts with our website. The ladies join. And the thing about the website, the questioning, so when you hit join here, there are a series of, a couple of questions, name, email, general information. But then there are about 3 or 4 questions that we really want to get to know the women, because we really want to service. We don't want to be just the same old, part of women's groups on Facebook or whatnot. I don't want to be that. I want to really help women and have success stories, authentic success stories come out of the CEO district. So there are 3 or 4 questions there to, ask personal questions to see, for us to better get to know you and to really see how we can service you. So the final question on our questionnaire to sign up is, tell us why you're joining. What can we do to help you? Wow. Right? And the moment I knew that I had heard from God is that the week 1, when we opened up the portal, literally ladies were pouring out their hearts in this one paragraph. Wow. And it was like, the first week of the portal was open, I literally cried every day reading these paragraphs. And I literally had to repent to God and say, I am sorry for putting this off, because I felt convicted that I had been holding these ladies up since December. Wow. Of getting the help that they needed. And it made sense that mental health was top priority in this group, even before we even begin to talk about business, before we begin to talk about wealth, right? Mental health is something that is drastically needed. I didn't know that. I didn't know these women were waiting on me. I'd have started in December had I known, right? So it taught me a lesson about obedience. If God gives you something, he's not a God of time, right? He's a God of now. Right. So if I give you something, that means that needs to happen now. That means there's a need for it now, because he uses us in the earth. So who are we to put God off? Because we are only thinking about what we can do within our strength and in our power. Who am I? to do that. And that will never happen again. I promise you, it will never happen again. But reading these paragraphs of the women, just opening their heart, professional women, just wanting more out of their life, have become comfortable. You know, we're moms and wives, and we're such nurturers and caretakers that we just make sure everybody around us is successful except for ourselves. You know, we'll take 24 hours and take 20 hours a day caring for others and try to slide in four for ourselves. And so with CEO, I want to make sure that women know that we are graced, because we're graced to be good moms. We're graced to be good wives. However, we have an anointing for our purpose, and we should not neglect that. We're not put here to be wives. We're not put here to be moms, right? We're put here for purpose. Yes. And we're graced to do it all. But we just have to find that balance. You know, we're put here on assignment, but we have to find the balance to make life work. But we can do it. And so that's why we're here to wrap our arms around, you know, our sisters, and whatever it is that they're aspiring to do, just to lock arms and go across the finish line together. Because we've been trained, you know, women can't get along. This myth, and women can't get along, and women are catty. We were taught that as young girls, and that follows us. Like the first fight we had with our friends in kindergarten. My mom told me I can't trust girls, and now, you know what I mean? And so that behavior and that thought, even that little seed planted as a little girl, that carries through teenage years, through college years, and even through, you know, us as adults. So now we're stuck out here alone on this island because we haven't been able to maintain relationships, because that seed that Black women in particular, can't get along, right? So we want to dispel that myth. Right. And let's just love on each other. And our tagline for CEO is, individually we are strong, but together we're powerful. Yeah. And I truly believe that with all my heart. We are powerful when we get together as women, just unstoppable, like limitless, literally. Yes.
I love it. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I support it 110%. And I want to thank you so much for being on. Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today and just sharing this, because I know in our comments we have, you know, Tomio, she said she agrees, amen to that. She feels every bit of what you're saying. Ayana, she was saying she needs help planning her wedding and that she feels every bit of it as well. And they're saying, wow. I mean, like you said, when women come together, we are unstoppable. And I know like yourself, a year ago, I was led to just go live. I do real estate full time. And I went live, and within 10 minutes, I had 160 women on this live in this real estate. And at that moment, I said, I need to start, you know, I had created the Billionaire Businesswomen Mastermind. And now, right now in the group, there's about 780 women in the group. But I'm like, the main objective for starting that is I wanted to have a place where we could inspire one another and just be our best selves in all areas of our lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, as women, to come together. And since starting that, like, all the women are there now, but I also was able to get another women's group that was just given to me. There's 10,000 women in that group. I'm like, there's got to be a way. I want to bring all of the businesses, all of the women, all of it together and just say, let's grow and be our best selves. Make a difference on this earth for greatness. Because it's so important, like you said, that mental health, that physical, that spiritual, to become your best self and really give back to the world and just, you know, join together. Because a lot of times, like you said, women are, you know, known to be catty and things like that. But I don't agree, you know, at least for me, I try to just love one another. And
that's it. Let's conquer all, like literally.
So very important. So very important stuff. Okay, so you've got the CEO and the event planning. And what like as far as the events, because I know Ayana was saying she wanted to do the weddings, and I know with COVID and everything that's happened, how can people get connected with you to have the event planning and all that? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So currently, my Visionology web page we're revamping it. Okay. So, you know, initially when COVID hit, I'm like, okay, so my event planning, my corporate events have tanked. You know, everyone's at home. So what happens to my event planning business, right? So in June, was my husband's birthday, and I have crazy ideas that I act on sometimes. I said, what about having an event in my driveway?
Wow.
So I have a large driveway. And so, just a small, it was maybe about 40 people. So I called a friend whose husband owns a pressure washing business. And so I had my driveway pressure washed nice and white. And I literally set up tables, very elegant tables and chairs in my driveway. I hired a DJ and put a projector on the front of my house. And so my DJ was in Charlotte. So I had a DJ, speakers outside, and it turned into this like magnificent event that I didn't know how it was going to turn out because of COVID. So I had a host. I hired a host, and so we did forehead checks, before coming into the area. I had it roped off. You had to get forehead checks and all that. And so everyone sat at their table. So to minimize the walking or the people being social, we did 4 rounds of small plates, which was served, to the individual table. So people came and they didn't have to get up. So we served like small plates, excuse me. We had drinks, and I had our mixers in like little water bottles or whatnot. So she was just serving, the individual tables, and no one had to get up. And everyone was so appreciative because at that time, like, no one had been anywhere, right? So you had people coming dressed to the nines for an outside party in my driveway. And it turned out absolutely amazing. And I posted pictures, on my social media, just posting it. I wasn't looking that would be my pivot in business to start doing, high-end, smaller events. But that's what it turned into. So that was my pivot, in my business that has kept my business going throughout COVID. Had no clue as to posting that would turn into gaining business from that. So that's how my business has pivoted since COVID. Where I thought I was done. I thought I would be out of business for a while, but you know what I mean? So yeah. So right now you can, I'm available through my social media handles, which is Kelly A. Bowens, or you can contact me through SheEO District, the SheEO District on all platforms.
Wow, that is amazing. And like you said, with COVID happening, with event planning, that's one thing that has been going on is a lot of virtual events. So I know there's probably so much business right now for your company. It is not anything. This is the time for growth and development for it to catapult into a whole new level of things.
Yes, absolutely.
The smaller, more, high-end events, and also virtual events being put together. Corporate events are still happening, but they're happening virtually.
Yes.
Someone needs to organize that and put it together, and how it's going to be done and what are you going to have. That's a whole event space that as of right now, if I wanted to have an event, I don't know who to call to put it all together, but to know if there was a company that you can go to virtually and set up the whole event, that would definitely be something that I know I would look into for sure.
Absolutely. Yes.
That is amazing. Well, Kelly, thank you so very much for all of your inspirational words today and your keys to your success in your business and in your life. Before we leave, what are some of, because I know you said you're a wife and also a mom, what would be one of your final keys to your success or to success that you'd like to leave our viewers with?
Personally, and I'm just going to speak for myself, to pursue purpose, not paycheck.
Yes. Wow.
Pursuing paychecks takes us away from purpose, right? Especially when you don't come from money. So when you get to a place, you're making six figures, you want more, it takes you away from purpose. But now that I'm in purpose, all that's automatic. All that is promises. All that is tucked away and more in purpose. So I would say for me, pursuing purpose versus paycheck, because the paycheck is inside the purpose.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. I have so many more questions that I want to ask, and because at the end of the day, spirituality and having that faith and having that belief is so important when it comes to business. And like you said, following that purpose is so very important when it comes to some of your keys to your success as an individual in a business. It's like knowing what's that purpose. What would you say before we go to people who say, well, I don't know my purpose. Like, how do I know what my purpose is? How do I find my purpose?
We don't find our purpose. It's revealed to us. And revealed to us when we're ready. That's why that personal development and that time with God is so important.
Yes.
We're sent here for a specific assignment, and the assignment is to help the process of winning souls back into the kingdom, right? That purpose that we are sent here with is so precious to God. He can't reveal it to us until we're ready. It's like, I wouldn't give you a newborn baby if you're 5 years old. That doesn't make sense, right? Because that baby is so precious. If you drop it, it could die, right? But that's how God sees us with our purpose. I love you, but I can't give you your purpose until you're ready, because it's so important. Souls are attached to that purpose. So I can't reveal it. It's always there. Right. And it's always a hunch in us, right? We just have to know, get around. That's why the people you connect yourself with, the people you talk to and give your energy to and spend time with is so important, right? Because we have to be saying the right things. Again, it all starts with this mind here. And so our purpose is revealed to us when we're ready to receive it.
Wow. So personal development is absolute key. Absolutely.
Saved my whole life, literally, in a book.
Yours and mine both 110%. And still to this day, it's something that's continuous, like you said, it's something that's continuously, we're every single day working on personal self and that personal development and just becoming my best self and helping others to become their best self. So important. Wow.
And then one last thing that I made the mistake of, and I'm very mindful to share anytime I can have a voice, on a platform, is one of the mistakes I made with good intentions, but it was still a mistake nonetheless. I confused my gifts and my talents and passions. I put it all in the box with purpose, and they're two separate entities, right? So the Bible says our gifts will make room for us, right? So our gifts and our talents will make room for us. So our gifts and talents are used as resources, right? To make money, to meet people, to network, but it all funnels to purpose. And with your purpose, one way to know that you're on the course to purpose, our purpose is always going to be tied to service. It never will be tied to money. It's always at the core, some type of service to people, right? And so God uses our gifts and talents as resources to get us to purpose, which is serving.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you so very much, Kelly. I look forward to speaking with you after the live and just learning more and hearing more. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in today. Definitely to learn more about SheEO and your vision platform. What was the name of the vision? The company that you have, the other company besides SheEO.
Visionology Event Management.
Visionology Event Management. Definitely hit up Kelly. We have her Facebook link there as well. And you can message her and also reach her on her social media platforms. And to our viewers, thank you so very much for tuning in today on the Keys to Success show, where we interview local business professionals and entrepreneurs to discuss some of their keys to success in their business and in their life. Kelly, thank you again so very much for being on the show today. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Until next time, we are live every Tuesday and Thursday, 12 noon. And I look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Kelly, stay on the line. Guys, I will talk to you all soon. Have an absolutely amazing afternoon. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.